you know, I let it go. I really believe if you spend so much time grasping onto that one wonderful idea, your mind is no longer free to do anything else. So when it happens, you have to move on. You have to move on. I always tell people, well, they didn't get the Rick Wonderland experience. That's the way I feel. I mean, steal from me if you're going to, but you're not going to get the same experiences if you got it from me. And I think everybody has to evaluate what they do and how important they feel about it. But integrity is what this business is about. And it's not a matter of female, male, gender-based things. It's a matter of you don't think about it. You just don't think about it. Free is free. And if I see something free here, I'll walk over there and ask for it free. You look on the floor down there, and you'll see people running around when they see something free, they want it free. Then they turn around and they'll go to another business and say, well, I just got it free over there. And it's not even something we think about. We just kind of go with the flow. And it's males, females, whatever the case may be. If you find something free, there's that attack. And Ravelry, you know, you see that lots of free patterns. People go in there and they complain about the patterns. They buy something, and if they think there's a mistake, they get on there and they start complaining about the pattern. Little did they make the swatch, or maybe they don't know what a yarn over means, or an increase.
I think for all of us, you know, sorry, I didn't mean that.
That's okay.
I think for all of us, no matter sort of what role we're playing in the industry, we contribute a lot towards the general culture of the craft, and you know, we really need to be doing our part to maintain it. You know, maintain that integrity kind of across the board. You know, and on the bright side, you know, listening to all these horror stories. On the bright side, I mean, I will say that, you know, and traditional publishers have been dealing with, you know, a lot of these similar issues for a really long time. And I will say, you know, not professing to have been involved in traditional publishing for millions of years, but, you know, I'll say that really in the last few years, there's been a market change in the way that designers treat their own work and that knitters treat the work of designers, you know. And, you know, I would say that for a designer kind of coming up now, they're really coming up in an atmosphere of increased attention to what is and what is not their intellectual property, you know, what their rights are, you know, what the rights of the publisher are. And I think that's good for everybody, you know, to really have that level of transparency there.
I have a question. As an instructor at a local yarn shop, I don't know how you do it, I had a class or a group of ladies that actually wanted to do a sweater that was on Twist Collective. And I said, great, we'll do the class. But when I put my syllabus up, I said, you know, before the first day, you need to purchase the pattern. And they kind of looked at me and said, well, don't you have the pattern? I said, well, I have the pattern, yes, because I'm the instructor and I need to make the project. But I can't copy it for you. So my question is, at what point do you feel that we talk about this link between designer, yarn maker, you know, all these different links that, you know, sometimes I didn't forget the instructor also as part of that link. And how many local yarn shops let their instructors just make the copy for the 5 people in the class? And it's just $5. Well, 5 times 5 is $25. And if you have 5 students in 20 different shops, just in the state or Southern California, again, it's a value. And so they all kind of hemmed and hawed, but everybody came to class with a purchased copy of the sweater we were making, you know, and you either buy the single pattern if it's available single, or you buy the book for as many students, and you include that in part of your materials costs.
So maybe if they want to
you know,
share
what's
the
the
pattern,
instructor
we should
connection?
also be knitting the shared yarn.
You know, is there some way you can address that from your angles?
No, what you did was perfect. We just need to get everybody's
Right.
down.
I just wanted to say, you know, we designers are not the most powerful forces in this industry. And before I got to be a designer, I was a musician. And I think everybody knows that you can't just take a piece of music and play it on this or that event. And I think the music business has been very good about educating. And P.S., it's the musicians' union. We don't have a designers' union. But I think that much more strong in this effort to educate the consumer. Is that a reason for as TNA to be much more involved in that?
You know, I will say, I'll try to be brief because I know I go on too much, but having been involved with TNA on the board level for many years, I'm not on the board right now, but my husband is, this has been a major issue for TNA. They actually have addressed it over and over and over and over again, including things like making available the poster, and I'm pretty sure TNA you can get, the poster that says, you know, copying is illegal. Don't ask us. We're not going to do it.
And it's still available from the website.
Okay, great, good, thank you. I'm not about that.
It's not quite enough, though, is it?
Well, it's not, but it is constantly an education process. It's constantly one. There are new people involved every single trade show. There are new people here. They need to hear it over. I mean, so we have to say it over and over and over again because everybody needs to hear it. And then they need to take it seriously. And I don't think that TNA is unaware at all. I think that they've done a fair amount, and maybe they could do more, but I'm not exactly sure what that is.
Yeah, and I think the culture is changing. I'm amazed when I go on a message board and I see somebody talking about, you know, and incidentally mentioning something, you know, maybe not entirely on the up and up that they did to acquire a pattern, you know, or, you know, offering a pattern to share, or, you know, any myriad of things. And, you know, they immediately get shouted down in the community of other knitters. You know, these are not designers or shop owners or publishers. You know, other knitters really saying, hey, that's not cool. You know, you know, and I don't think that would have been so, you know, loomed so large in the average knitter's consciousness, you know, even just a few years ago. So I think that's really, you know, there's a change happening there.
So, and we'll get this one last question, and we're at like 20 till 7, and I know everybody wants to get to the fashion show. So aren't you guys glad you didn't have to get to the tough question? The questions got more difficult, and they were all nervous about 7 and 8. But I want to make sure that everybody has something they want to ask, gets a chance to ask. So
I just have an observation to make rather than a question. What I am seeing, unfortunately, more and more of on places like Ravelry are the amount of knitters who are our customers who really don't give a rip about copyright. They just don't care. And all they care is about getting their project knitted, whatever it is that they want to be knitting. And I know you can't get people to care about issues like that, but I think by making them aware that there is an issue, it's helpful. And there will be that little angel on their shoulder or devil on their shoulder every time, you know, they go to photocopy something. Or it'll be a defiant thing in their eyes, you know, I can do what I want with this. You know, somebody paid for this. So anyway, it's just a little disheartening when I hear and see and read those kinds of discussions where, you know, the fruit of our minds are just kind of tromped on like that. It's kind of,
If I can say something, I totally, like, I see your point and I agree with you. I just do want to say, in Ravelry's defense, I also see a lot of people defending designers on there. And I also see a lot of violation of copyright happening in local knitting groups, even more so than, you know, it's all look, copies for everyone, you know, and it's, I see that happening a lot.
Ravelry makes it much more.
Well, it's just Ravelry is at WLC, you know, like, you know, so.
yeah, I just wanted to say if that happens, we want to know about it.